Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a hard truth most people don't want to hear. You're worried about money, but you're wasting time, and that's the real problem. Money comes and goes. You can lose it, make it again, invest it, multiply it. But time, once it's gone forever. No refunds, no extensions, no second chances. And yet every single day, people trade their time like it's cheap, like it doesn't matter, like they've got an unlimited supply. You don't. Every hour you spend complaining, scrolling, procrastinating, or living someone else's dream is an hour you will never get back. And the crazy part, most people don't even realize how expensive that hour was until it's too late. Here's the truth. How you spend your time is how you spend your life. Not what you say you value, not what you post online, what you actually do with your hours. That's the scoreboard. People say, I don't have time. No, you have time. You just chose something else. And that's okay, but be honest with yourself. If you say your family matters, but you give them leftovers of your energy, that's a time problem. If you say your dreams matter, but you never work on them, that's a time problem. If you say you want freedom, but you spend your days numbing yourself instead of building skills, that's a time problem. Money is a tool. Time is the foundation. You can always make more money if you have time, health, and skills. But you cannot buy more time once it's gone. That's why chasing money without respecting time is the fastest way to a life full of regret. You end up rich and empty, or broke and bitter, because you never invested your time wisely. Most people wake up every day thinking money is the most important thing they're chasing, but the real currency has always been time. Time is the only asset in your life that is completely non-renewable. You can lose money and make it back. You can fail a business and start another one. You can even rebuild your reputation. But once a minute passes, it's gone forever. No strategy, no hustle, no mindset shift can bring it back. The problem is not that people don't value time. The problem is that they don't feel its cost in the moment. Wasting time feels harmless. It feels light. Scrolling for an hour doesn't hurt the way losing $1,000 hurts. Saying, I'll start tomorrow, doesn't feel dangerous. But that's the trap. Time doesn't scream when it's being stolen. It disappears quietly, and one day you look back and realize you paid years of your life for comfort, distraction, or fear. When you understand that time is the only asset you can't get back, your decision-making changes. You stop arguing about small things. You stop holding grudges that drain your energy. You stop chasing approval from people who don't matter. You become extremely selective about where your attention goes, because attention is just time focused in one direction. And once your attention is gone, so is that piece of your life. Every successful person you admire made the same trade. They protected their time when others gave it away. They said no more than they said yes. They delayed pleasure. They invested hours into learning skills, building relationships, and doing unglamorous work when no one was watching. Not because it was easy, but because they understood the math. 1 hour used well can change the trajectory of your life. 1 hour wasted, repeated every day, can quietly destroy it. The scary part isn't that time is limited. The scary part is that most people live as if it's unlimited. They plan their weekends better than their lives. They spend more time choosing entertainment than choosing direction. They wait for motivation instead of respecting the clock. But the clock doesn't care how you feel, it keeps moving. The moment you truly accept that time is the only asset you can't get back. You stop asking, how much does this pay? And start asking, is this worth my life? Because that's the real price. Money is renewable because it's tied to skills, effort, ideas, and opportunity. As long as you are alive and willing to learn, you can create it again. You can lose everything financially and still rebuild. And history is full of people who did exactly that. What allowed them to come back wasn't luck. It was the fact that they still had time, energy, and the ability to think. That's why money, no matter how important it feels, is never the ultimate asset. Time doesn't work that way. Time only moves in one direction. It doesn't care how talented you are, how motivated you feel, or how badly you want a second chance. When it's gone, it's gone. That's why treating money as more valuable than time is backwards thinking. You can always earn more money if you're smart with your time, but you can never earn more time no matter how much money you have. This is where most people make the wrong trade. They sacrifice years of their life doing work they hate, staying in environments that drain them, or chasing lifestyles they don't even want, all in the name of money. They tell themselves they'll enjoy life later, not realizing that later is being paid for with the best years of their energy, health, and creativity. Money might grow in their bank account, but their time account is being emptied every single day. When you understand that money is renewable and time is not, you start thinking differently about opportunity cost. You stop asking whether something is safe and start asking whether it's worth the years it will take. You realize that a high-paying job that steals your soul can actually be more expensive than a lower-paying path that builds skills, freedom, and long-term upside. The real cost isn't the salary, it's the time locked into a direction that doesn't align with who you are or where you want to go. This mindset doesn't mean money doesn't matter. It means money should serve your life, not control it. The goal is not to be busy, but to be intentional. The goal is not to maximize income at all costs, but to maximize leverage, using your time in ways that compound. Learning, creating, building, and nurturing relationships may not always pay immediately, but they create more options in the future. And options are what allow money to be renewed again and again while time continues to run out. Once you see money as renewable and time as priceless, you stop chasing quick wins and start building something that actually lasts. People love to talk about what matters to them. They talk about big dreams, family, freedom, health, success, happiness. But talk is cheap. Your real priorities are not found in your words, they're found in your calendar. Where your time goes every single day is the most honest reflection of what you truly value, not what you say you value. If someone says their goals matter but spends hours avoiding discomfort, that tells the truth. If someone says their family comes first but gives them exhausted leftovers while giving their best energy to everything else, that tells the truth. Time doesn't lie, it exposes the gap between intention and action. And that gap is where most people get stuck because facing it requires personal responsibility. The reason this is uncomfortable is because time forces accountability. You can't blame the system, your boss, your past, or your circumstances when the evidence is right there in how you spend your hours. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but not everyone uses them with the same level of intention. Some people invest their time, others spend it. Some compound it, others burn it. When you become aware of this, you stop living on autopilot. You start auditing your time the same way you would audit your money. You notice patterns. You notice distractions that add no value. You notice habits that quietly pull you away from the life you claim you want. And once you see it, you can unsee it. That awareness alone begins to change behavior. This isn't about being perfect or productive every second. It's about alignment. It's about making sure your daily actions match your long-term vision. Small choices repeated daily matter more than big intentions declared once. 30 minutes a day learning a skill beats years of talking about potential. One focused hour toward your future beats an entire day of fake business. People who win long-term don't magically have more motivation. They've just designed their lives around what they value. They protect their mornings. They control their environments. They reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad ones. They don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems that guide their time in the right direction. The moment you accept that your time reveals your real priorities, you stop lying to yourself. You stop waiting for permission. You take ownership of your schedule. And in doing so, you take ownership of your life. Most people don't realize how much of their life they're trading away for things that don't actually matter. They wake up tired, move through the day on autopilot, and hand over their best hours to distractions, drama, and obligations they never consciously chose. The cost isn't just stress or frustration. The cost is time, and time is your life. Every yes you give to something meaningless is a no to something important. Saying yes to pointless meetings, toxic conversations, endless scrolling, or chasing validation might feel harmless in the moment, but those minutes add up. They quietly steal the time you could be using to build skills, strengthen relationships, improve your health, or move closer to the life you actually want. The hard part is that many of these trades feel normal because everyone around you is making them too. Society rewards business, not impact. It praises being occupied, not being intentional. So people stay busy doing things that look productive but lead nowhere. They confuse motion with progress and comfort with happiness. Stopping this requires courage. It means being willing to disappoint people. It means stepping away from noise. It means questioning habits that feel familiar but don't serve you. Most people would rather stay comfortable than be honest about how they're wasting their time. But comfort has a price, and that price is usually your future. When you stop trading your time for things that don't matter, your life gets quieter, and that's a good thing. Fewer distractions mean clearer thinking. Clearer thinking leads to better decisions. Better decisions compound over time. You begin to realize that peace, growth, and freedom are not found in doing more, but in doing less of what doesn't matter and more of what does. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small, uncomfortable changes. Turning off notifications, leaving conversations that drain you, letting go of activities that no longer align with your goals, protecting your energy like it's your most valuable resource, because it is. The people who build meaningful lives are ruthless with their time, not because they're selfish, but because they understand the stakes. They know that every hour spent on the wrong thing is an hour taken away from something that could change everything. Once you internalize that truth, wasting time becomes harder than doing the work. Most people make decisions based on how they feel right now. What's comfortable, what's easy, what feels good in the moment. That mindset is expensive because short-term comfort always steals from long-term results. Long-term thinking is the ability to delay gratification, to choose effort over ease today so that tomorrow looks different. That's the real separator between people who stay stuck and people who build something meaningful. Short-term thinking asks, what do I want right now? Long-term thinking asks, what will I be grateful for later? Those two questions almost never lead to the same answer. Skipping the work feels good now. Discipline feels uncomfortable now. But comfort fades quickly, while regret compounds. The pain of effort is temporary. The pain of wasted potential lasts for years. Long-term thinkers understand that progress is not loud. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't come with instant validation. It looks boring. It looks repetitive. It looks like showing up when no one is watching and doing the work even when there's no immediate reward. Most people quit here because they don't see results fast enough. They underestimate how powerful consistency becomes when time is allowed to do its job. This is where patience becomes a competitive advantage. In a world addicted to quick wins, being willing to play the long game sets you apart. Building skills, relationships, reputation, and character takes time, but these things compound. 1 year of focused effort can change your direction. 5 years can change your entire life. But only if you're willing to sacrifice short-term comfort again and again. Long-term thinking also changes how you handle setbacks. When you're focused only on now, failure feels final. When you're thinking long-term, failure becomes feedback. You stop panicking over small losses because you're confident in the larger plan. You don't need everything to work today as long as you're moving in the right direction over time. Choosing long-term thinking over short-term comfort is not about being extreme or miserable. It's about being honest with yourself about what you want your future to look like and then respecting that future enough to act accordingly today. The people who win aren't the ones who always feel motivated. They're the ones who understand that time rewards patience, and they're willing to wait while doing the work. At the end of the day, money is just a tool, but time is your life. How you use your hours determines who you become, what you build, and how free you truly are. When you respect time, make intentional choices, and think long-term, everything starts to align. You don't need more time. You need to use the time you already have better, because once it's gone forever. Thank you.